we wanted to take up this idea that the conservatives have. Michelle Malkin, Michael Smerconish wrote a recent piece about it on the Huffington Post. We're going to get tough. This country, as always, is sissified, is political correctness. We're going to call people what they are, right? And then Peter King, the congressman we just talked about, said the same thing. These Muslims got a racial profile on separate lines. That's what Mike Gallagher wants in airports. We're going to start separating them out. And, we thought on here at the Young Turks, that makes a lot of sense. We should start to separate out people who disproportionately do crime. Like, higher crime rate among blacks, right? There's separate lines for blacks. Conservatives will love that, right? More illegal immigrants are Mexicans. Separate lines for Mexicans. Certainly in places like hospitals and schools where they're taxpayer money.
But I think you touched on it, what's most important there, Jank. Schools. This is mainly about parents protecting their kids.
Aha! Exactly right, Ben. And you know what? The most dangerous killers of all are the ones...
Of kids at school, right.
Targeting our kids.
Yeah.
If anybody needs to be profiled, it's those dangerous people killing our kids. You can't argue with that. Absolutely can't argue with that. See, but what was interesting, when we did a little research to find out who was killing our kids, and we looked at the school shootings, we came up with an interesting pattern. Hey, just go ahead and put it up, and let's see what we see here when we look at who the killers are. You remember Kipling Kinkle? He's the one that did
from Oregon. Yeah.
His name is Kipling Kinkle?
Yes.
Oh, God, who wouldn't be pissed off with a name like that? Seriously. I'd shoot people.
Of course, because you're young and white, but you're not a boy, so it's not quite the right pattern. You don't fit the pattern. This is a guy, the kid in Oregon. He's age 15. He murdered 4. He attempted murder of 26 others. He happens to be a young white boy. Well, let's see if the pattern continues. Let's go to the next person. Andrew Worst. He's from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, sure.
And in 98, he murdered a school teacher. He's another young white boy. Interesting. Let's keep going. Look at these two, Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden.
Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Everybody remembers Jonesboro, Arkansas. Again, in 98, ages 13 and 11. 2 young white boys. Interesting. All right. Michael Carneal, West Paducah, Kentucky, age 14. 3 students dead, 5 wounded, and another school shooting.
Do attractive children kill other children, or is it
Probably.
just the unattractive ones?
I don't know, but what I do know is another young white boy. Interesting. Let's keep going. Luke Woodham, West Paducah, Kentucky, age 16. Stabbed his mother to death, shot 2 in the school, wounded 7, back in 97. Another young white boy. Barry Lukitis? I'm sure that's wrong. Moses Lake, Washington. He was age 14 when he shot his teacher dead, 2 students dead, 1 wounded, another school shooting, another young white boy. And here's Jacob Davis from Fayetteville, Tennessee. 1 shot dead, another school shooting, another young white boy. And finally, of course, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold in Columbine, 15 dead, 28 wounded, the worst school shooting ever, 2 young white boys. According to conservative logic, there is no disputing it. These young white boys must be separated from the rest of us. They are killer. They are vicious kid killers. They kill our children. They target our children. They are our enemy. And they must be targeted. And we must do strikes against them, and we must separate them from the rest of the population. If they go to a school, these young white boys must be in separate lines, in separate classes. This kind of aggression cannot stand. If it stands and we don't separate them out, then we are weak. Oh, what do the Democrats want to do? They want to do crime fighting and capture these one by one. We can't do that.
Now, how many more kids have to die?
Are you going to sit back and take it?
Look,
this is a clear pattern of young white boys killing our children.
It's not even that complicated. It's not a question of civil liberties. They still get to come to school. It's just that when they come to school, they have to have a separate line. They got to go through metal detectors, and every one of them get wanded. While the black and Hispanic students, they just get to go right in.